Hey everyone, it's Rachel
and Linda.
and we are Truth,
Trust,
and Transformation. So today
we're trying anyway.
Yeah.
It's a process.
I think we're pretty good.
Yeah.
I really do. I think like we're pretty good. I don't know. I just feel like I'm in a really good space, despite all the craziness and the energy and the solar eclipses that are going on. Like my energy has been like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah. I've just been trying to get my school year started, and it started, and I'm still here, so
You're doing good. I remember usually this time of year, you're like,
Yeah. Well, and this is what we started this conversation. It's like, we better get on here so we don't water down what we're going to do for the channel. But my relationship with caffeine is different. And I didn't realize how much it was messing me up. I thought it was like my lifeblood, like I have to have my coffee and I don't have energy, and so I drink more coffee. And now I'm realizing I do much better without so much. So I'm delaying it. I had the apple cider vinegar first, and then I have a little bit of coffee, and I'm noticing that if I have a little bit more later, it's like I want to taste it, but I don't like the way it makes me feel. Because here's my come to Jesus. I think that part of what was putting me into overdrive that burnt me out was the caffeine, because I would think, oh, I got to get this stuff done, so I'm gonna and then hoof it. But then I would get so buzzed up that then I would need to expel that energy, and I would take myself beyond what was healthy for my body. And then I would crash, and then I would just do it over and over again, which is, supposedly one of the definitions of insanity. And now that and sugar too, like the worst I've done is eaten some green grapes.
Right.
And I'm also meditating every day. Like I don't ever want to skip it. I'm doing all the other things, but I'm also meditating every day. And the peace that I'm getting, and the peace that I have access to very quickly because I'm practicing that, it's like, wow. I'm just so grateful. Like, even though it took however long it got to be here, I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah, because I think we look at it like, oh, we're doing all these other things, but meditation seems so, like, it takes so long, and you have to carve out the time, and then that's where my mental space was. But then when I started doing it, like, I look forward to it every night. Like, okay, when I get home from the gym, I'm gonna like make dinner I make my lunch as soon as I get home from the gym for the next day, so I don't have to worry about that. But like that is just part of my routine now. And if I don't do it, like if I don't actively like do the meditation where I'm sitting up, and I can tell you since we started, I've missed like 2 to 3 times, but I still do like a yoga nidra meditation. So usually I do the Joe Dispensa meditation sitting up, and I go through that, and then I lay down and do yoga nidra. And that just puts me in a space. And I had an experience a couple nights ago, well, probably like last week. And so I did the Joe Dispensa meditation, and then I did a yoga nidra. And during that yoga nidra, usually I fall asleep. Like sometimes I'm still conscious and I don't, but this time I did not. And then I don't even know how long I was like in that meditative space, but all of a sudden, so I have been trying to allow visualization. Like I've been trying to allow it to flow through and happen along with my growth. And so during this meditation, I spoke to Denise, and she was like, just call in your goddesses and just allow, like stop trying, just allow. So I did that, and then all of a sudden I had this, and like I said, I don't know what hour we're in, because what I do is I put my, what do you call it? Eye mask on, and I have headphones on, and then I just like zone out.
Right.
And so when I go from Joe Dispensa to doing that, I take it off briefly to put on the Kristen Rose like yoga nidra meditation, and then I lay down. And so sometimes her meditations are like 3 hours, sometimes it's 40 minutes. it just depends on which one you're doing. One's for like deep sleep, and then so that one lasts longer. I don't even remember which one I did. But there was a point in that meditation, and usually when I'm meditating, it's just I'm sitting in the darkness, I'm sitting in the stillness, I'm sitting there, and like sometimes I'll see flashes of different color of light, or I'll see like almost like smoke, like blue or purple or whatever. Um, but literally, what came to me was this vivid picture, because I'm always questioning what is this supposed to look like when I'm visualizing. This picture came up, like I'm looking at that picture on the wall, and it was a picture of like a wooden wall and a wooden bed, and something said, "This is what visualization is. This is your picture. This is what it looks like." And I was like, oh, okay, but I haven't been able to do it since. And then I kind of like, I guess I fell asleep and was having crazy dreams, but that stuck with me, and that picture stuck with me. And that I heard it, like I heard, like, this is what visualization looks like. This is your picture. And I was like, huh. And when I talked to Denise about it, and she was like, yeah, she was like, what's the words she used? I'll have to go back and look, but she used some very distinctive words about like what happened, and she was like, just stick with it, just keep doing it. So that's kind of like the pattern of growth that I'm coming on. So that's what I've been doing. Like I stick with the same thing, and then for the first time since we went through the Joe Dispensa thing, I did a Brian Scott meditation, and I used to listen to him all the time. Like he's fabulous. He's on YouTube. He has a ton of information. His voice is nice. It's like the voice you could just like listen to him talk all day. And so I did one of his.
Tell me about that later.
Yeah, I did one of his activations of jumping timelines. I did that the other day, and then I'll go back into the Joe, because with Joe I'm working on activating my pineal gland. I'm doing the pineal gland activation meditation, and that's what I have been doing. Instead of rotating through, I'm on that one, and each time like I'm activating those center, like I can feel it. I'm like, okay, I can feel it here. I can feel it in my solar plexus. I feel it in my throat. I feel the vibration pushing up and stronger and stronger, and I can start feeling where my third eye is getting activated, and in my pineal gland, and like I can feel it. So something told me, stay here, do this, continue to do this. Because they say once you're to that point and everything's activated, it's just going to explode. Yeah. So that's where I am. What about you?
Wow. Well, where I'm at is last time I was saying, I was starting the Joe Dispensa stuff. I got to the first meditation. I was like, you know, not into it, whatever. And then I took a couple days off. And then when I went back to it, what he was saying and the way he was saying it was like, okay, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. This is really good. I still have not actively participated in the meditations yet, but I've been the one part of it where he talks about how, and I need to like listen to it when I'm not on my massage bed so that I can write some stuff down about how our, you know, things turn into beliefs, turn into perceptions. And that whole idea, you know, because I'm familiar with the Course in Miracles where they talk about I need a change in perception, asking the Holy Spirit to help me see something differently, and just realizing on a deeper level, like that everyone's just running off their perceptions, and that's not necessarily coming from the truth, right?
Right.
And so it's kind of blown open my mind about how I think about things and how I think about my health, or I think about my money, or I think about my relationships. And it's just like that whole, and I have this thing, you guys can't see it because it's behind me. This.
What's that say? Whatever your past has been, you have a spotless future.
Right. A spotless future in which to create upon. And I got this at a thrift store, like right after my divorce, like 6 years ago or something. And I look at it every day because where I sit to pray and meditate is right over here. But that whole idea of like, well, maybe this can change. Maybe, you know, things are just moving along and I'm listening to him and absorbing and thinking and listening and all that process. Meanwhile, doing my own meditations that the way that I was trained to meditate, which aren't doing the pineal gland, and I'm gonna get to that, but it's just like I'm just doing my thing. But the sense of peace is growing, and my ability to be in the moment, even though I've gotten pretty good at that, is growing. And my capacity for joy and savoring, like I was trained in various different places that when I sit down to a meal, I'm blessing my food, I'm giving thanks to all of the things that participated, to the nourishment that my body's going to have from that. And I'm starting to do that. I'm just spontaneously like sitting down. And I used to have a habit of watching TV or reading while I ate, and I can't do it because I have to be present with my food. And all of that, I'm just so grateful because my life is so much better and nothing else has changed. You know, and the other thing I'm noticing is that my inflammation is lower, and the other thing that was strange, my diaphragm has been twisted for weeks. It's been hard to sing because I can't open up my ribs all the way. I can't get the breath all the way down. And I think it was yesterday I was working out and I just did something and I felt, oh, this is what's been, you know, I'm doing a movement, it's got resistance, and I'm feeling this go. This is what did it. And so I used my breath to unwind it while I worked it out. And then when I went on the massage bed, it just like, I breathed into it and it completely disappeared. And I was thinking, I gotta wait another freaking month to see my osteopath to get this dealt with. And I'm like,
you did it yourself.
I did it myself. And it's just like my belief in my ability to heal myself is just like boom, boom, boom. I'm like, oh, what else can I do? You know, and the fact that I'm doing it with these breathing techniques that I developed, and I'm not saying that other people haven't developed the same damn thing. I'm just saying this is what I've done. It's so exciting. And what I was starting to tell you before is my studio is kind of at its bare minimum. I need several more people to be able to, you know, have it the way I like it, but I'm not worried about it. Like I can't conjure up the fear. And recently, should I tell them about the combat boots?
Yeah.
Okay. So my whole life, I've loved boots and I've loved men's boots. Just boots. And I know a lot of it is because of my hypermobility. My ankles have always been unstable. And so I always loved having something that came up to here. That plus it, there was a badassery kind of feeling to it, you know, and yeah, most of my boots are black, I'll admit. And for years, my feet are in rough shape. Like I'm still doing treatments on them and doing all of this stuff and they hurt. And so I can't wear cute shoes, like even good cute shoes. And I just feel, so I was like, okay, you know, if I got myself a good pair of combat boots that I could put my custom insoles in, I might be able to pull that off and actually feel good and look cute and still be able to walk because I am not into shuffling around because my feet aren't, I don't do that. And I went hunting. And it's always a process, and I had to forgive myself for that. So I'm going to order these boots. They're going to come in. They're not going to work. I'm going to send them back. And one of them, I went to DSW because to return it. And I was like, I'm going to go hunting. And I forgot how much I like the hunt, too. So all of these things about who I've always been feel like they're coming into roost. And it's like, just because I'm 57, excuse me, doesn't mean that I can't have my 23-year-old in here going to the thrift store and buying like weird stuff and putting it together. And I felt like something in me clicked back into place. And it wasn't just about the boots. It was about all of it.
Yeah, your
and
femininity,
my
your feminine
my
energy.
self-expression, you know. And I've had people tell me my whole life, not so much recently, why are you wearing that, you can't wear that, la, 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 like getting into my face. And some of those little things came up, and I'm like, no, you know, like, you don't get to talk to me like that anymore,
Right.
because I am my own person in my own life, and I buy my own shit. And you know, and then synchronicities, I'm in the Big B that I go to, this is a coffee shop, once a week to see my people and get my free shot Friday. And that Beyonce, it was Destiny's Child, that um independent one, all alone now, get your money, throw your hands up. And I was like, yeah. And it just reminded
your mantra,
me,
like
it just reminded me of a lot of things. And it also reminded me of like when music was played on instruments. Oh my God. And then I went down this rabbit trail all day yesterday. I had to run errands and I was pissed because it was a beautiful day, but it's like I'm in the sun.
Yeah.
I got the windows down and I'm jamming to like all my favorite music. And then Blinded Me with Science, Science came on in the bank. And so I looked that up on YouTube, and I'm enjoying my life as it is so much more than I was. And
I can relate to the music thing because I just go down this path where, you know, music in this day and age, it just doesn't speak to me. Like, there are certain things that are catchy, and I'll, like, if Zai's listening to it, I'm like, oh, I like that, or oh, I listen to that. And I'm like music from like rap to classical to like whatever. And just like getting in and listening to like the 80s and like Cyndi Lauper and Lionel Richie and just like all these songs, and you're just like, it's like, this is like music, and it just, you know, singing at the top of my lungs in the car with the music up and dancing. And I have a long commute, so I've been doing that, and it's just like, like so much emotion. Like I was telling you, with the Earth's energy, it's been crazy, and I've been feeling like super emotional, which, you know, that's not me.
No.
Like, not saying I don't feel emotion, but I'm saying I'm not a crier. I'm not one that gets sad or just feel like, ugh. But the other day, like, I was watching YouTube Reels, and I was trying to find something happy because, like, all the stuff that's playing on the internet was just, like, so heavy. And I was like, I want to look at fashion or thrifting, or I want to, and this dad came up on a short, and he had his little girl sitting on his lap, and he started singing Lionel Richie's Stuck on You. And the look on this little girl's face looking at her dad, it just, like, touched my heart. And I'm like, oh my God, that's such a good song. So the other day on my way to work, I usually listen to podcast or something, and like nothing, I don't know, my feed is just ruined with like trauma. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to
my
watch
feed is ruined.
It is, because once you look at something or accidentally click on it, then they think that that's what you want. I'm like, I don't want this. Like, no, like, reset. So I was like, let me listen to music. And I played Stuck on You by Lionel Richie, and I just I just felt this immense sense of sadness, and like I cried the whole hour all the way to work, and like one song after another, like Journey came up, and REO Speedwagon, and like all this stuff. And I was just like, I was like sad. Well, I can't say I was sad, I was tearful, but I can say, like, in my life there's always times where I just hear a certain song, and something in that just emotes so much emotion for me. And it literally just like something, and like, I'm not a singer, I'm not like, you know, I'm not musical, I'm not like artistic, but there's always been something in music that I've heard, whether it's a gospel song or something, where it just something emits like this emotion from me. And it's just like, so I had that experience yesterday, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, why am I crying? So I talked to Penny and I talked to Denise, and they're both people that I like consult with, and along my spiritual path. They're older and they're healers, and like have all these gifts. And she was like, just feel it. She's like, the energy is crazy, we're shifting into a new timeline, your body is upgrading, and just allow it and feel it. Don't push it away, just, and don't question it. It just is what it is. And I'm like, okay. And so after I went through all that, I felt like so much better, but I still feel a little like, what's going on? Like, can we get through this process, please? Because like,
yeah. Well, in music, to riff on that, music is an emotional expression. And when I did the awakening coaching training, I never did this exercise. It's a good idea. the teacher, Arjuna Arda, told us to make playlists for different feelings. And that we would make dates with ourselves to go feel our sadness or feel our joy or whatever. And really, music, I mean, everybody does this. We like modify our moods like a drug. You know, it's just like, oh, I got to clean the house. So, you know, you have the stuff you clean the house to, the stuff you work out to, the stuff you make love to, the music that
it's
gets
always
you
been
in
a
the
huge
mood.
part. Absolutely. I remember being young. Sorry not to cut you off.
No, that's fine.
I remember being young and like my parents like listening to Elvis and like Dolly Parton and this, is it the Statler Brothers? I think that's a country band, something like that.
I don't know.
Statler Brothers. I think that's who they are. And just like all this different music. So, and then my brothers were like Ozzy Osbourne and Led Zeppelin. And then I listened to like Michael Jackson and Prince. And so it was just a huge Rick James. And so this huge eclection of music. And to this day, I love oldie music. I love like the Temptations and Elvis. And like I just love, and now I'm looking back at like fashion in that time, because a lot of the 80s, 90s is like now, like it's coming, you know, it's coming back up.
Right.
And I'm just looking at all that, and you know, something like I love was like looking back in the 40s and 50s and the way men dressed and the way women dressed. It was just so beautiful, and they always look so put together, and like there's something about that I love. But I also like a funky look and maybe a little bit different and playing with fashion, but I haven't always done it. So you know, I throw on scrubs and I throw on leggings, and like now I have sweats on, and it's just like I have this closet full of clothes, and then just trying to, it's also challenging to fit like certain things on my body, because I have a small waist and bigger hips and thicker thighs, which now they have more fashion.
Oh, you mean you're a woman?
But like sometimes I'll have this look in my brain as to how I want it to look, and when I put it on, I'm like, no, not so much. So it's just like, I'm starting to do that too. Like I'm starting to get up and put makeup on, not a ton, but like just look put together, and then I just feel so feminine and pretty, and like taking back my femininity, because for so long I was working in that masculine energy. And you know what, I'm like, you know what, I don't want to take out the trash. Like I don't want to do these things. Like I want to cook and clean and nurture and do these things. And then so like my significant other, like he takes out the garbage and he does certain things that I'm appreciative of. Like, and I don't even have to be like, can you do this? Like if I happen to grab the garbage, he's like, what are you doing? Like, and he takes it, and like, so it's just like being able to really enjoy being a woman and being soft and being like not helpless, but like wanting help and wanting like that masculine energy to be able to like comfort and take care of me. And it's just something that I've really sat in, and like relinquishing control and not having to, you know, do everything, because I don't have to do everything. I can ask for help, and that's okay. And that doesn't make me weak, or that doesn't, you know, I don't know. It's just like I'm really coming into like my womanhood and being feminine and feeling soft and pretty. And I don't know. It's just a place I've never been before.
I think what I'm hearing you say too is something about balance. And where I'm at with the stuff, it's like I like doing all of it if it's not going to hurt me. You know, like there's things that I wish that I could do in my yard, but I will injure myself, at least at this point, if I do them. And the other, what was it? For me, the dressing and all of that it's an energy thing. It's just like I actually have some leftover energy to think about that enough to get the kickback on the energy of feeling good, because I feel good in the clothes that I'm in. And I realized I made a video, another nature one, and when I watched it, I was like, girl, your clothes don't fit. They're faded, you know, and we might still post it, but it's like, I don't want to do that anymore. You know, I get to have nice things. I get to have newer clothing that fits, that supports my body and all of that stuff. And there was something else I wanted to say about masculine feminine thing. Oh, this is what I was going to say. So, when you talk about fashion and music, um, because I'm a musician and a singer, and so I sing lyrics, it's like some of this old music, like even old jazz tunes that I used to sing, I'm like, I can't, it's so disempowering the way women were treated,
Mm-hmm.
and how just not having a voice, or oh well, my guy abuses me or neglects me or whatever, and that's just how it is. I'm just like, I'm really glad that that's changing.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, I'm not sure how I feel about women artists that are just all blown out sexy. I mean, I get that on one level that's empowering, but on another level it's like you're still objectifying yourself. And that's probably a whole nother discussion, and that's only where I'm at with it right now. And I don't know what, excuse me, other people feel like about what they're wearing and what they're expressing with
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just, right now, when I'm coming into my whatever it is I'm coming into, I feel like people are noticing me more and I'm getting attention, the kind of attention I don't really want, which is the kind of attention that made me want to hide my body in the first place and hide my beauty. Sometimes I think I hide my beauty
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want it to distract people, because people get so distracted by appearances because that's what our culture is all about. And it's like, there's a soul in here, it's not just a body. I don't know. I'm sorting through all of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think too, because you're meditating and you're doing the work and you're going through the Joe Dispensa, I think like we shift energetically, and that's a very attractive like energy that you're getting off. So I think eventually that kind of attention is going to fall away because energetically that's not going to match where you are.
Correct.
So I think you're probably in a place where it's a little bit wavering because you're finding yourself again and you're feeling more feminine and pretty. And it feels, I mean, it feels good if someone looks at you, whether it's man or woman. I think it's
Yeah.
more complimentary when another woman is like, wow, like
Yeah.
you're really, yeah.
Yeah.
But also with like men, like I don't know, you want to feel like people like look at you and feel like you're attractive. And there's a fine line between that. It doesn't mean that they can be rude and say rude stuff, which sometimes some men tend to do, but I feel like eventually your energy is going to
Yes.
vibrate up higher around that, and then you're going to attract someone that appreciates it and not necessarily is like,
Yes. And that's a really, I'm so glad you said that, because it feels like fresh. I'm coming back to myself in a way that I've been in other times in my life. All the while, fresh things are coming up, but also the old is kind of like getting puked out.
mm-hmm.
And the thing that came to me this morning was, instead of being looked at in that, oh, I just like looking at you, it's like I want to be revered as a soul,
Mm-hmm.
not just. And that's the difference between the kind of attention or attraction that we're talking about, and that's most likely where I'm headed,
Mm-hmm.
is someone who's going to see all of me instead of just whatever it is they're looking for, or or the people are looking for all of it instead of just whatever's going to tickle that little
Mm-hmm.
sexy bone or whatever's going on.
Yeah, I just think like energetically you're going to attract someone that's in the same space energetically, but it just takes some time to like you said,
Shift it.
let go of the patterns, let go of the thought process, let go of the way that we are accepting the attention or the way that we're dealing with the attention.
Right.
Like all of that stuff is gonna fall away, because for a long time I was very self-conscious about like my body and the way that I looked, and aging, just because I was with a super abusive person that told me, oh, you're old, you're ugly, you know, you don't have the best body, you know, and just really like hurting me to my core. And I feel like you know, I've never felt like, oh, I was ugly. Like I didn't ever, it didn't get to that point where I let it affect me like that. But it did affect me to the point around that person where I was very self conscious about how I looked. I was like, it just, I wasn't in a good space. And now, like, I have someone that, like, sees me and, like, loves everything about me and always, like, you know, compliments me. And it's just, it's so different now. So I'm so much more comfortable in my body and who I am than I have ever been. But it was a process, even like during, like, when we first started dating. And he, you know, he picked up on, like, okay, what is this, what's this energy I feel, or like, why do you, and you know, I told him, and he was like, you know, some people are just like mean, or, and he was like, that's like the farthest thing from the truth. But I was like, yeah, but when you hear that every day,
Yes.
you hear those little slight comments, or you hear those little things every single day, it does something. And you can instinctively know that these things aren't true. But when it's coming from a place where someone is supposed to love you, but it also brought up stuff for surrounding my first husband and the older kid's dad. Like, he would do the same thing, like, oh, like, this girl has a nicer butt than you and you don't have a butt, and like, and then he was cheating and messing around with all these girls. And then I remember, like, and like, I can see, like, he drew a picture of me, like, and he was an artist, and he drew a picture, and then, like, he drew, like, the back of me, and he was like, see, like, you have no ass. And it's just like,
it's an
and
outright
so
lie.
when this other person, like, said something to me about it, it's like, oh, well, like, this is the second person that was close to me that made these comments. So, like, it's something that I felt self-conscious about.
They have the same controlling mechanisms, because I've been on the other, I'm so glad that you're saying this, because I feel the same way. You know, like, the person that's supposed to love you the most is, like, treating you like worse than a dog, like worse than a bad dog.
Right.
And it does have an effect on you. And what's interesting about my journey with that is that I'm doing that without somebody telling me anything. You know, I'm finally getting to a point where I look in the mirror and I'm like, you know, no, I don't have a movie star body or movie star face, but, you know, for someone who doesn't have those resources, I'm happy with myself. And more than that, I'm happy with who I am. You know, like, I was thinking about, you know, just general, I think a lot. And I thought, you know, what am I most pleased with about my life? And I thought, I'm most pleased with me. I'm most pleased with who I've always been, who I've always been becoming, and how I was still trying to be that person when I was in the middle of a shitstorm that was mostly created by someone else. And my participation in it was the fact that I stayed. But then I know why I stayed. And part of it was for my own good.
Yeah.
And so, you know, but yeah, those people.
And, you know, I can look back and, you know, I don't feel, you know, I think I'm on my, like, spiritual path where I don't feel like anger anymore, and I don't feel hurt, and I just feel neutral about it. And I just feel like, you know, they were just, like, and not in a good space, and, like, that's the way, the things that they would do and say to make themselves feel better. And that was just that. And you know, before I'd be angry, or like, oh, I just want, like, revenge, and it's so funny. And now it's just like, I don't feel anything about it. Like, I don't feel hurt, I don't feel anger, I don't feel anything, because I look at my life and I look at the person that I attracted, and it's like, I'm in the perfect place, and I have the perfect person that matches me. And it's just like I attracted that. And I was going back and I was looking through, and I don't journal, I need to journal more, like, which we just covered in the Akashic, when you did my Akashic records. I need to do that more. I need to incorporate that.
You want to do that?
Yes, I do. And so I do have, like, I have tons of journals where I started writing and I started doing stuff, and I look back at one, and, like, I had wrote down everything that I wanted. So instead of focusing on what I don't want. I
Mm-hmm.
wrote down everything that I wanted, and I looked at like who I'm with, and I was like, this is a pretty damn good, like,
Really close.
really
Yeah.
good match. And of course, nobody's perfect and exact, and like, but it's somebody that I can grow with. It's somebody that, one thing I said, like, when I get in another relationship, I'm never going to bite my tongue, and I'm not going to suppress what I'm feeling or be worried about what I say if that's going to hurt that person, because I know I'm not coming at a place where I'm trying to be hurtful, but I need to be honest.
Yeah.
And having that freedom just to say whatever, I never, like, when, if something happened, or like, say a situation happened and I'm not happy, like, I'm able to voice that without worrying about repercussions. I'm not worried about, okay, am I going to get the silent treatment? Am I going to get, like,
be abandoned?
Right. Am I going to get talked about? And is this going to be thrown in my face like 2 months down the road? Me being vulnerable, and like, those thoughts never come to my mind. I know I can say whatever I need to say, and we're both going to evaluate it, and then we're going to, like,
that's amazing.
We both learn from it. And yeah, that's an amazing, yeah, it is, because before it was like I was always walking on eggshells, like, okay, I can't say this, I can't do that, I have to be careful how I interact with other men. Was a huge thing, being around other men, whether it was like family members or like his friends, or I would always have to be careful. Am I being too friendly? Am I being this? Is he gonna take this the wrong way? Because that would constantly come up. And like, now that's something like I don't have to worry about. Like, him and I joke all the time about different things, especially like, because he goes dancing, he does salsa dancing, and I was like, oh, you got all your groupies that you're going to dance with? And I'm like, tell him I said hi, and like his dance girlfriend, or it's just, it's funny. I feel, despite being cheated on so many times, I trust him completely, and like, those thoughts don't even cross my mind. Where before I'd be worried, like, what are they doing? What are they like? But now it's just like, I don't have that fear, because there's a level of trust that we have built that like nothing can penetrate. And it's the same with him. Like the other day, when I told you like my energy was like feeling all crazy, and I was feeling, and he was like, when I got home, usually I get home from work and then we go work out, and he's like, whoa, he was like, what's going on? And he was like, you just feel like you're in a really like chaotic like energy, like what's up, what's going on? And I just started crying, and I was like, I don't know, I just feel like, everything that's going on in the world, I just feel like, gosh, what's wrong with humanity? And like, where's our compassion and empathy for people, for human life? And I was just like, I just don't understand. And he was like, yeah, but he's like, you gotta know, like, things like this have always happened. It's just now we have the internet to be able to visualize all of it. And sometimes you just got to check out and like not look and not listen and just be neutral about it. And I was like, and I knew that, but I needed to hear it, because I just felt like so overwhelmed, and like, and I'm trying to like look at other stuff, but things keep popping up in my YouTube feed. And I was like, and I don't have any other social media. Like, I don't have, like, I have TikTok, but I hardly go on there. I'll go on there for recipes and stuff. And I have Instagram, but I have no idea how Instagram works, honestly. I was like, what is this? How do I find it? Like, I just, like, it's, yeah. So I don't even go on there. I deleted Facebook so many years ago, like, so long ago. And so, like, YouTube, I just like the podcast and all that stuff. But this, the minute you view something, they're like, oh, you like this. Like, no, I don't like this. I don't want to see this. I don't want to, like, no. And so it's like, I don't want to, like, reset the channel, because, like, I built, like, all the people I follow and everything. But I'm just like, you know what? I go on our channel and I only subscribe to like meditation and like spiritual and like happy stuff and fashion and music. And so I don't look up anything else on that like channel. So then I'm like, okay, this is my safe space. I can go on here. I can look at that. And I actually found someone, her name is Erica Lyons, and that could be wrong. But something I was asking, like, okay, I need to see something fresh. I need to see something. And she was the one I told you, like, it just, when she came on, she just resonated with me. And it resonated a lot, because she was saying, like, where are you in your spiritual journey? She was like, because if you're evolved and you're where you need to be, like, everything that's going on in this world, regardless of what your political views are, whatever your spiritual beliefs are, if you can look at things and be neutral, you know you're where you need to be. And I was like, that's what I'm allowing to happen, because I'm not quite there yet. Like,
well, and you'll come in and out of it.
mm-hmm.
You'll come in and out of it.
Yeah, and she said vibrationally you're going to be matched, and you're going to collapse timelines, and you're going to move forward, and you're going to attract that energy, and that's where you're going to be. And she was like, that should be a goal you get to, because she said people are always trying to manifest money and manifest this and manifest that, but she was like, if your vibration is matching where you need to be, all of that's going to come. You don't have to, like, that is just going to come to you, and you're going to be paid to be you. Like, it's going to come, and it's not for you to be there to figure out how, why, where, when, what. And so, like, I just started, like, really listening to a lot of her information, and it just, like, resonated with me so much. And there's something that she said where she was talking about victimhood and people taking on their ancestral trauma and bringing that up and carrying that into this, like, lifetime. And she really, I'll send it to you, she really talked about that, and it just resonated with me what she said. When people play victim, like, that's what you attract, and then that's where you're stuck because you are now a victim. And she was like, I'm a vibrational goddess, I'm a vibrational being. And what did she say? She said, ancestry be damned, like, that's not me. Like, I have access to
you get to choose.
Yeah, that's what
you
she
get
said.
to choose. And that was coming up in your reading as well. And the thing that I'm hearing is that the ego really likes to get bogged down in the details. And it's just like, and the ego doesn't have any trust. You know, it's like, if I'm all wrapped up in my head, I don't even have an open channel for the answers to come. And when, back to that awakening coaching thing that I did, one of the exercises we did, we'd have these groups, and someone would lay down on the floor, and all of the people would go around them, which just that alone was just like that there was a circle of people around just for you. That's awesome. And they kept asking one person after another, what is your deepest desire? What is your deepest desire? And, you know, I'd start with, I want to not be in pain. You know, I want to make art. I want this, I want that. And then it boiled itself down to, I want peace. I want inner peace, no matter what is going on. And that's that.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what everybody wants, but they think the peace is going to come from the money and the things and the blah, blah. And it's just not.
Those things come, but that's not, like,
right.
That's not what brings the happiness. Like, you got to be happy within you. And that's something I always have told my kids, like, so it's not anybody's job to make you happy. There's no knight in shining armor that's going to come sweep you off your feet, and nobody can make you happy. Like, it's your job to feed yourself. It's your job to give you the things that you need to be happy. And then when you're in that point of happiness, when you meet somebody, they're equally happy, and then you just bring that happiness together. But then you're still responsible to keep yourself happy, and they're still happy to keep themselves happy.
Correct.
And then it flows so much better. But, you know, as little girls, we're taught, like, oh, there's this knight in shining armor, and he's gonna come and rescue you, and, like, then you're gonna be happy and fulfilled. And it's like, no, like, we gotta do the work.
Then we believe that we need rescuing, and we don't.
Right.
And I want to say that I'm going to try not to cry, but deeply happy for you, for what you've grown into and attracted into your life. And it listening to you talk about it feeds my hope that that's possible for me. But I also know that I'm happy to, you know, I'm happy with my life as it is.
Exactly. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
And that's where I was at the point in my life that I was truly, like, I was pouring into myself, and I was doing things that I loved, and, like, I came first. And then when that happened and I met that place of where I felt like I was complete, then the relationship came. And, like, if it would have came sooner because I was trying to rush it and not put the work in, it wouldn't be what it is. It definitely wouldn't. And the same with him. Like, he's done the work. Like he still does the work, and it's just like we both do that, and we both have things that we do independently. Like he goes and dances. I don't really want to do that.
Yeah,
Like, it's
that brings up another thing, if I can say it.
Mhm.
I'm weary of the way things are done in I don't know why I want to say it this way, but like in the heterosexual world where it's like, you know, when we were kids, we could have guy friends, you know, and people did stuff together and it was platonic and it didn't have to have this, you know, attraction component to it or whatever. And it frustrates me that I feel like the only guy friends I can get really close to are my gay guy friends because there's no whatever. I'm not threatening their relationship because I'm not someone they're interested in betting. And I know that it's not necessarily a general thing, but and when I was married, the second time I didn't, not that he would, how do I put this? There were relationships that he had with women, and I was glad that he had women friends, although there were, oh, I almost dated this woman, and she says these things to me, and I'm like, that makes me uncomfortable, because it was uncomfortable, because it wasn't appropriate.
Right.
And then I got shut down, and it's like, well, too bad, because I'm going to do whatever I want. And so I know I'm talking in circles right now, but I just would hope that there's space for platonic relationships in different generations of people where it can happen appropriately, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think there's always that underlying. So let me give you an example. So I was really good friends with this guy. He like was in love with my best friend, like wanted to date her, like worshipped her, and she just wasn't interested. And so him and I were really close, and like we talked about everything, and like years and years and years went by, and I think so my best friend like passed from pancreatic cancer, and I think this was after um and so this guy, like I always like, especially during my relationship, he would be the one that say, all the signs are there. You know he's cheating on you. You know this,
Yeah.
you know that. He was always the voice of reason, but I just wasn't in a place of accepting that. And we would talk about everything, like literally everything. And then my ex said like he wants you, and I'm like, no he doesn't, we're just best friends. He's like, I'm a man, I know, like most guys that you're friends with, typically if like you're gonna like be open to it, they're gonna take that chance because that's just how men think.
Yeah,
like that's just it.
Differently than we do.
And lo and behold, he was dating one of my other friends, and then we were just talking, and he was like, I have to tell you this, and like I got a knot in my stomach, and I'm like, oh God, like what? And he was like, I think I'm in love with you. And I was like, fuck. Like seriously, dude? Like really?
Yeah.
And after that, it just ruined the relationship. Because
so
I felt
sorry.
like I couldn't be.
Yeah, no.
Like I couldn't be with
Yes.
someone, like be in a relationship with someone and then knowingly keep talking to this guy when I knew he had feelings for me, and I didn't want to lead him on or hurt him, and probably I didn't deal with it in the best way because I was just like, whoa, what do I do? And so I think there's always that thing, because I always grew up having guy friends. I had more guy friends than I did girlfriends. But I also knew, they would tell me, if you'd have sex with me, I'd 100% have sex with you.
But that's the difference between, we're just different.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting to a point where, like earlier I was saying that I made a little dick joke about cucumbers and zucchinis to someone.
And that just opened up
this thing. I was like, what just happened here? That was a joke, not an invitation. And I'm getting to a point where I'm like, you know what? They just can't handle it. So don't do it anymore. And I'm at a point where, yeah, I don't like censoring myself because I'm a body lass. I mean, so I gotta save that for Jonathan.
Yeah.
Jonathan, we love talking about dicks because we both like likes.
Right.
So, and one of the things I love about him is that I can be so 100% myself around him, because there's no worrisome areas that I have to skitter about. But I do not like that kind of attention that comes at me when I'm misread. And I'm misread a lot. And I'm getting
because you're flirty and you're fun and you're like it's your personality.
It is my personality.
You're like that with me too.
So what do I? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I flirt with everyone.
Yeah, so I just feel like I don't know.
So I don't know. You know what? Leave advice in the comments, and also tell us. We just went on a damn rabbit trail. And I have gotten feedback before where they like that we had a subject and circled back. So we need to know how you feel about this. But I think we've been yakking long enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was our little check-in with life and everything and where we are, Joe Dispensa. And so, well, I mean, I feel so much. Whenever we have our conversations, I always feel so much better.
Yes.
I just feel like it's out there.
Yeah, and I hope that this is helpful. I know that the things that I listen to, just people talking about their everyday life, makes me feel so much better and more connected about my thoughts, my feelings, my experiences. Because even though we have the internet, I feel like we're still really isolated.
Very disconnected.
Yeah, so thank you.
Yeah.
Love to you.
So please comment, like, and subscribe, and join in on our conversation.
Yes, and share.
Yeah, share. So have a great day, guys.
Bye. Work. It might have shut down again.